Hey, I'm Kathy Roberts. I'm the Tidy Tutor, and thank you so much for coming. This is our coffee talk for housekeeping. Okay, we're going to talk about what it is to be a housekeeper. Now, there's a word housekeeping, that's all one word, and that is based on people who are like maids at a hotel. And then there is the two words housekeeping, keeping house, and homemaking. These are all words that kind of go together, and it is really important. Now, I want to talk about why is this topic so important, and why must you keep this topic in your mind always. Now look at this woman's face and think about what it is. I dreamed my whole house was clean. Like how it feels to get up and walk into a wonderful kitchen all clean, and how it feels to just open up your drawers and get what you need, a pair of socks that are in there all nice. How it feels to wake up in a beautiful bedroom, and how badly we want that. Now, why I believe that it's imperative to maintain success when you begin to get your act together in understanding how important housekeeping is. I believe that that is like a catalyst for us to continue on with having our house stay that way. Now, this is what we get when we Google housekeeper. We get these images. Now, it makes it feel like, well, how important is it? How important is it to be a housekeeper? How important is housekeeping? You know, it seems like anybody could do this. Now, the word housekeeper, it came from a verse in the Bible, Titus, verse 2, where Paul instructs the elder women to teach young women to be keepers at home. Now, there's a real meaning to this. Now, this is where the word housekeeper came from. And it really is a shame that it's become known as subservient, because it really is anything but. Now, this morning I was reading a book called What Women Don't Know and Men Don't Tell You. Now, this is a quote from that book. Whether you have chosen to anchor your faith in God or not, the scriptures are still universal law. So whether you believe them or not, they still work, because I am referencing scripture here. Now, the word keep is oikoros, from oikos, which means house, household, or family, and euros, which is guard, guardian, watcher, or warden. Okay? So the keep is a commission of God that he gave in Genesis chapter 2 verse 15 to Adam, and also in Titus chapter 2 verse 5. Now, both are about protecting, watching, and guarding. So the job to keep house is really a serious one. Now, what comes into your house is very important, both physically and spiritually. What do you allow in your house? If you are a guardian of your home, you watch what comes through that threshold. It matters. If there's people that give you things, most likely they are organizationally gifted people, because they're always getting rid of stuff. So if they're giving you something, you think twice before you say, yes, you want it. You think twice before you'll even let it go into your car. Is it something that's going to bless you and your family? Does it make you feel good to touch it and hold it and look at it? Do you need it? Do you want it? Don't let something just come into your house, and don't stop at yard sales and pick up things that are just stupid things that don't matter, because what comes into your house is important. You are a guardian of your home. I want you to think about what you're talking about and what you're watching. Back when I first got organized in 1989, Sidetracked Home Executives, a book that I read that got me on this road. I talk about them quite often, Pam Young and Peggy Jones. They said to, watch what you're watching on television. If you really believed that your household job was important, then you wouldn't be, putting just anything on television all day long, just letting it go. And, you would be thinking, just like you think for professional work, that you have to give it your all. And letting other people's problems into your life, even if they are fictitious, is something that you don't want to do anymore. Watch what you're talking about. No more gossiping. And are you on the phone all day long? You have to stop it. Now, if you work outside the home and you come home, then whenever it is that you're giving time to house and home, it needs to be taken seriously, because it is serious business. Now, it is something that's spiritual. And if you don't want to embrace the whole spiritual thing, that's fine. But just realize something, that if you don't want to say that it's spiritual, well, whatever emotions come off of something, that is not physical, is it? When you look at that one picture to the left, you see those beautiful flowers and that field, and then you see the devastation of the fire. It gives off a definite different feeling. You're not going to put a blanket down and sit underneath one of those trees or in that environment having a picnic. It will make you feel good. And with the little children that I put there, you see, you look at one, you have a different emotion. Everything gives off something. So watch what you bring into your house. It matters. Did you ever clean a closet out? And when you were done cleaning that closet, and then you open that closet door, there's an emotion that happens when you open a closet door that has just been cleaned out. And if you've forgotten that it's been cleaned out, it suddenly like shocks you into being like, oh, that's nice, because there was something there before that is gone now. And it's a negative feeling as opposed to a positive one. Now, there was a time when homemaking was an important job. Back over here in the top left-hand side, there's a picture of Doris Day, and she was in Please Don't Eat the Daisy. She had 4 boys. She actually had help that came in from like 9 to 5. She also had a mother that helped her, and she was a stay-at-home mom. It wasn't considered in our era of time of living, like, oh my God, what did she need all that help for? How lazy is she? It really was considered a lot of work to maintain a household and family. And now the other one is Hazel. People at that time didn't look at this and say, what the heck does that lady need a maid for? They didn't think that Mrs. Baxter was some lazy woman because she needed help at home. And we have the Donna Reed, of course, and we have June Cleaver. They were seen as, doing honorable work at home. And something happened in our society around 1980 is when it happened, where you were either seen lazy for staying at home, or you were considered a bad mother for going to work. The movie Baby Boom came out, and it was absolutely understood that it is very difficult to maintain a home, a family, and an outside of the house job. It's hard to juggle it all, and we kind of think that we have to. Now, put on top of that the inability that we may have as right-brained creative thinkers to get things done, and we're talking about a real time bomb happening. It's very difficult to live life if you are organizationally gifted without any help and having an outside job. It's hard to do it if you are at home and organizationally gifted and don't have an outside job. Forget it if you're one of us organizationally challenged. It becomes very difficult. And then when you put on top of that we don't even realize how very important it is, that we're not waking up early and going to sleep early and getting ourselves ready for the day because taking care of home and family is important. Or if when you get home from work, that you don't give the importance to maintaining the house because you just don't think it's important, well, it's no wonder that it's very difficult to close to impossible for us to give it the attention that it deserves. Now, something happened around World War II when they needed women to go back to work. There was propaganda set up for Rosie the Riveter to be, like patriotic, to go to work. But what happened was our society, our government recognized that it's very difficult for a woman to go to work, stay at home, take care of a family, and all of that. They actually provided daycare. They actually even provided meals to be delivered. We see here that there's something called the Kaiser Company, and they had daycare centers for the women. There was a Springfield Armory in Massachusetts, and the daycare was across the street. You see that picture in the right-hand corner, the mother with the hard hat on who went to visit, during the day just to see her child. This was considered something of importance because women at the time who were at home were really valued. Now, what we have to do, realizing that our job is important, is to actually consider it a job. Like if you work outside the home, if you have a home-based business, if you have any other kind of job other than housekeeping, it doesn't mean that housekeeping isn't your job, because it still is. It is our commission, and it is what we work for. It's important to dress for it. It's important to get extra help and calculate that extra help that you need, just like you have to calculate the dress code, the commute, the tolls, and the lunch that you have to have, into the rate that you're being paid when you go to work. Get help, you need it. Also, you've got to delegate. You've got to have a family meeting where you get together and you say, look, even if, say, you haven't taken Titus Tutor yet and you don't know what it is to do and when to do it, the fact is that stuff has to get done. So you have to have a meeting and say, I don't live here alone, if you're with a family. And, get some people to help out that live at home. There's nothing wrong with your husband doing his own laundry if you have a husband. There's nothing. I believe that if your children could reach the knob, that they're old enough to do their own laundry. Now, you have to understand that I know that if we can't even get out of our beds, that we can't expect anybody to start making theirs. So definitely it has to begin with us. But it will, I believe, begin with us when we realize how very important it is to be a housekeeper, to be a keeper at home. I want you to remember that all that we're doing outside the home is for what we do inside the home. If we win the lottery, nobody ever says, I'm going to quit our home. We actually get our home and make it a better one. We say, I'm going to quit my job. We don't say, I'm going to quit my home. I think that we have forgotten how important home is, and we've taken it for granted. And I think that we have to get back to realizing that it is so important, and that it really does deserve, the absolute consideration. There's something called IGAD disease, and it stands for I got all day. Now, you could see here on the left side of the screen that I have, women dressing for work, and, there is a certain criteria for dressing when you leave the house. And there doesn't seem to be one when you are at home. And I'm saying that really that needs to stop. What we leave the house for is for what we live for at home. And we should give it that consideration. And we shouldn't be thinking that I got all day. Because what we do at home is more important than anything else, because it is what we're living for. So the importance of work versus the importance of housework, I think it's a no-brainer if you really think about it. We need to elevate what it is, the importance of homemaking, and dress appropriately. There was a study done, a psychological study of dressing for the moment. If you were in a simulation and you were in the uniform that you were supposed to be in to do that simulation, say as a police officer in a certain situation or an airline pilot, people performed better when they were dressed for it. You'll do better at home dressed for it. Give it the honor it deserves by preparing yourself for it as if it's important. Now, the keep commission of Genesis 2:15 and Titus 2:5 are about protecting, watching, and guarding. So if you're in a relationship and you live at home with that person you're in a relationship with, keep it fresh. Remember when people used to say, I'm going to freshen up? These things are important. It's important what we do for our physical self, for people at home. We tend to dress for the people outside the house, and those are people that don't matter to us. We want to be happy at home, so whether or not you're retired and live alone, whether or not you're a single mom or a single dad or in a relationship or, whatever it is, we live for home. And if we can see it as a really happy occasion to take care of it because we know that it is what we live for, it'll make all the difference. Think about the fact that you are a guardian at home, that being a housekeeper is you actually keeping your home, keeping it, guarding it. So that's it for this call, Housework Rules. There is one way of living very frantic, and there is another way of living very peaceful. And it really does begin with realizing that your job is very important. If you're going to bed really late and waking up last minute to get out of bed, it's no wonder that we're frantic. But if you give it the consideration that it deserves, and you begin to think of it as such a respectful occupation, even if, remember what I said, I understand that so many of us now, I'm among you. I work outside the house, and I know how difficult it is to get it all together and to maintain everything that has to be maintained. Having a system that you will learn in Tidy Tutor University or have learned absolutely makes all the difference. But without realizing that it is our number one priority in life, makes it the motivation like you have when you know that there's a wedding in a month and you want to fit into that dress for it. It makes it that you have the dignity for it, and it sets you up for success. So I thank you so much for joining me. I hope that you see being a housekeeper as being so different than what they have it as, that you're not a housekeeper, quote, end of quote, like, Alice on the Brady Bunch. You are a keeper at home, the thing that we work for the most, the thing that we are working for, period. My name is Kathy Roberts. I am the Tidy Tutor. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you next week on Coffee Talk. What you have just listened to is Coffee Talk, which is inside of Tidy Tutor membership. If you go to thetidytutor.com, you'll see that there's these little buttons on the right side of the screen, and if you're a member, you get to go in there and you have additional help, you have encouragement, and once a week we have something called Coffee Talk. And that's where we get together on a particular subject, and at the end there is interaction where you'll ask questions and we'll have some sort of a communication. I'd love for you to look into it. Also, the Tidy Tutor University, where we learn exactly how it is that we can get stuff done and finally overcome the disorder of disorder. My name is Kathy Roberts. I'm the Tidy Tutor, and I really hope that you will like this video and you'll share it, and that you'll come into the Tidy Tutor, sign up for my tips. They're absolutely free. I look forward to getting to know you.